My name is Vince. I'm at Real Word Slayer on Twitter, man. And it's the first time I've gotten a chance to actually talk to you or to watch live
Cool, man.
and talk to you. Pretty cool, dude.
What's your handle again on Twitter?
At Real_Word Slayer.
Oh, okay. Hey, man, what's going on, man? Good to hear your voice. What's on your mind?
Whew. This is important, man. What we're talking about with North Korea. I wanted to ask you about or talking about a little bit was you know you're looking for that dim ray of light,
Yeah.
and I think that part of that is the understanding that even though Trump is acting like he wants to go it alone, all of this is still happening in an international context with other players and other actors,
Yeah.
and I think that anybody who's honest about the situation can acknowledge by this point that Vladimir Putin has a lot of influence over this president and over this White House, right?
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
So you look at Vladimir Putin's interests in this, right? And the situation is not necessarily good for him.
Right.
You compared it to the Cuban Missile Crisis, but whose Cuba is it, right? Because North Korea is on his doorstep, not necessarily ours.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, keep digging into that though. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's that. There's also the fact that the trade between China and North Korea is slowing down, so Russia's been looking to get into that a little bit. So I mean, there's an interest there. There's the fact that Japan has been on this path, they have a self-defense force. They don't have a foreign military force. But this situation is forcing Japan down the path of remilitarizing. And I can promise you that's something that Putin does not want.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
Because they have some history there. So I just want to,
those are good
look at those other interests and not be so I hate to say it that way, but America first. Because there's a whole lot going on, bro.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for the call, man. Audience heard you loudly and clearly. 857-600-0518. I mean, he points out some good points, right? Since we're digging deep down into this concept, like whose Cuba is what, right? We're talking about North Korea being the Cuba for Russia and China, which is why I actually threw that proposition out there in the first place. I said, what if China throws down a red line? What if China throws down a red line and say, if you hit anyone in this hemisphere or on our border, if you hit anyone on our border, we consider it an attack on China? Because that's literally what the United States said during with regard to Cuba. They said, I'm sorry, actually, I'm actually misstating. They would consider the presence of nuclear weapons in that region a threat. Anyway, I think I'm getting confused now. It says it's late at night. But the point is, China, there's a precedent for China to lay down that type of ultimatum. And that's a hugely destabilizing force, not just China, but Russia as well. So, in fact, in this scenario, North Korea is the Cuba to Russia and to China. And that's that again. And this is why I just simply think we have to think these things through because absolutely need someone who has thought this process through talking to the president of the United States. If all he has are people saying strike, 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 like cheer, chug, 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 some old white boy, fraternity shit. You know what I mean? If you have that, then we're fucked, man. I'm sorry, excuse the language, but I don't see how this plays out well.